to the way that I answer it and the way that I'm thinking about it. So what they're saying here is Magoba traders give debtors the following payment terms. So payment terms is how do they have to pay back? Ne? This is your T's and C's. Now look at this. They say they have 30 days to settle their accounts. Meaning they have to pay you within 30 days after they make the debt. Right. Then they say they also give a credit limit. Can you see they use two words there? So it's the payment terms and it's the credit limit. Okay. So the payment terms is the terms that they need to pay you, and the credit limit is how much are they allowed to buy on credit from you. Okay. So in other words, if I say to you, your credit limit is 10,000 rand, and you want to buy something that is 12,000, then it means 2,000 is going to be cash. You're not allowed to buy more than 10,000. Okay. Now, look at this. Mahlangu's account reflects a balance of 17,000. What problem can you see there? It's over the credit limit. Ne? And Siabi owes 1,500, which is due for 60 days. What problem is that? He's overdue. He does not keep to the credit terms. Can you hear how we speak? Okay, now, the business is not controlling its debtors effectively. Give two different reasons why you would agree with this. And even if they ask you this, and they also say, give proof, then you will say, what? Mahapo is 2,000 over credit limit. Ne? Siabi is 30 days overdue. Or you can say, does not keep to the credit terms. Okay, and there you got 4 marks. The next one, they ask, so that was A. What advice would you give the owner to improve collection of money from debtors? Give 2 measures. We've been doing it forever. What is the ones that we always say? Charge interest on overdue debt. That's one. Send reminders like SMSs or emails. What's the third one that we always use? Give discount if they keep to the credit terms. You can't just say give discount. And you can't just say charge interest. You have to say, when do you do that? Okay. Now, number C. The owner believes the debtor clerk. So what's a debtor's clerk? So if it's a big business, your bookkeeping is divided in different departments. So you will have, for instance, a stock department where they work with the stock. That would be your stock manager, the guy who orders the stock, working in the stock room. Okay? You would have a creditors department, which is just solely working with all your suppliers and paying them and whatever. And then a very important department is your debtors department. So they would be the ones working with your debtors. They would be following up on the people. Ne? So our debtors clerk is actually the 2 ladies sitting in the financial office. because they have to follow up on the learners who's behind on their school fees. That's a debtor's clerk. That's their job, is to get the money in. They have to see. Now remember, this terms, we can also call this internal control measures. Ne? Our internal control measures is how are we going to get people to pay within 30 days. Oh, charge interest, give discounts, send out reminders. All of that is internal control measures. And the debtors clerk, the Department for Debtors, is supposed to see that these measures happen. And if they are lenient, then this thing happens, where people just keep on buying without a limit, even over the limit, and we still allow them to buy. People don't pay on time, and that's my that. Okay, so now I ask you, give 2 strategies that the debtors clerk, okay, he does not screen potential customers properly before offering credit facilities. So that's very bad. Okay? Give 2 strategies that he should follow before allowing customers to open accounts. In other words, how should he screen? What is it that he's going to look for when he screens? So, now what's important? First of all, you want to see that this is a South African citizen. So you want his ID, his South African ID. You want his proof of residence, because it doesn't help that he has an ID but he stays in Dubai. Ne? And why is that? Because it's very difficult to reach people if they're not in your country. How are you going to get your money? How are you going to follow up? How are you going to send a debt collector if they don't live in South Africa?
But then, are you allowed to request a loan in another country where you're a resident and other citizen?
Say again?
Are you allowed to request for a credit, a loan?
Okay.
Are you allowed to request for a loan?
So you want to make a loan in South Africa, but you live in Dubai?
Yes, because in Dubai...
You can, but the likelihood of getting it is very, very low.
So if I request for a loan in Dubai, will they give me one? Even
No, because you're not a resident.
So no loans for you?
No loans for you. So let's go on. The next thing we're going to look at is you have to have a salary or a wage slip. Ne? But going with that is you want 3 months worth of bank statements. Because, you know, your South African ID you can get illegal. Ne? Your proof of residence, you make a copy of your friends and you edit it on the computer. Your salary slip, you create your own. But your bank statement, you can't. Ne? And they want 3 months. Why 3 months? Because the first thing they're going to check is if that salary is paid into your bank. That's the first thing they're going to look at. The second thing they're going to look at is if your debit orders and stop orders go through. So in other words, they're going to check, does it go through? If it doesn't go through, what will happen? It will minus on your bank statement and then it will add back again, meaning you didn't have enough money for it to go through. You see? So they're going to check for that. And it doesn't help for just 1 month, because I can get all my stuff in order on one bank statement. But if I'm really in money trouble, it's difficult to keep it up for 3 months. You see?
And then credit score?
Your credit score, you don't have your credit score. So what will happen is you're going to sign a document that gives them permission to request your credit score
from the bank.
The following 4 learners of